What has been your most prized possession in terms of artwork that you treasure the most? I mean, your parents used to give you an artwork at every milestone in your life, so...
Well, I mean, I first need to thank the two people in this room who are responsible for my addiction. It's my mother and Sharon Aparao. So, I guess I should thank you or blame you both for this. I'm not sure I have a favorite, really. As I said, I'm still learning. I'm still enjoying exploring new things, and every season there seems to be another new artist or concept that attracts my attention. Going back to the earlier question, though, I have about 200, 250 artists. I haven't counted. It's impossible to actually have a connection, talk to all of them. So the way I deal with it is I buy a lot of their books, their catalogs, their art, and we read a lot. And in a way, you can learn more about an artist by reading their thoughts. And it speaks to your sketchbook idea, Sandeep, where their thoughts are coming from. And for me, reading about art is actually more of a stress reliever than the art itself. The art causes the stress, and then you read to relieve that stress. So that's how I learn, that's how I connect with the artist's ideas.
Not the original question.
It was about...
You speak to artists.
Oh yeah. Sometimes, yeah. Some no artists in the dreams. Some I speak to and some I don't. So it doesn't really affect my decision making. It's the piece that speaks to me, and then sometimes I become friends. I find out, but usually I rely on Sharon's judgment and advice.
And is there anything that you feel like you said?
No, I think it's unfair, to do one of these favorites. It's the list of 10 best books kind of thing. It's all relative. I mean, I think it's also sort of like what you're most emotionally connected to, or perhaps what you do if your house was on fire, which is the one piece with me.
No, it's like music. I mean, you have different moods and you have different...
Yeah, it's a bit like that, yeah. So I don't think I could say I have... They're all great. I love them all.
Yeah. But Nirmalya obviously has two favorites.
No, in terms of artists, but the important question is, do you want to talk to an artist before you buy their work? I would say no. It's like, when we are evaluating, I live next to the Royal Academy of Music. When you evaluate a singer or an artist, the most important thing is that there should be a curtain in front of them when they're auditioning, so that you're not influenced by anything except what you hear. So when I'm buying a painting, I don't want to be influenced by anything except what I see. So I don't want to read up, I don't want to do all of these things, because it has to be a reaction to what I see, rather than the artist explaining to them. Because we know from research, people are not very good at explaining why they do things. So, I mean, even if the artist tells you why they do something, unless it's really obvious art which is banging you on the head with references, they should be generous in their imagination and miserly in their explanation.
No, but sometimes it also comes when you develop a relationship or a friendship with an artist, and then you believe in them, their work, their journey, their trajectory of their career, and then you sort of, I won't say the word collect or invest, you just go ahead and buy their stuff. It's a connection.
You need to encourage them.
Yeah. No, that even seems as a collector, because you have access to money, that's patronizing. It's just because you believe in their work, period. Yeah. And I mean, I have that with two artists, but it's not the entire picture.
Yeah, I mean, and books fill in the gaps, because you have maybe one or two or three artworks from an artist, and it lives in the context of their entire experience, their entire output. And so for me, the books kind of help me understand how this fits in, and maybe it doesn't. So it's really a desire to learn about everything that they do. Whether they can explain it or not, it doesn't matter. It's just the context.
All of you started collecting almost more than 20 years ago, and there was no concept of pricing of art then, at least the way it is now. And today, artists who are barely out of school, their prices are literally out of the roof. So, what do you think about this development?
So, I mean, the research is pretty clear on this. We have at least 25, 30 studies looking at the return on art to compare to stocks and bonds, corporate bonds and treasury bills. And the results from all the studies are unanimous. Art is the worst investment you can make.
Absolutely.
It is the worst investment you can make because
unless you're passionate about it.
it doesn't matter. If you're talking about financial returns, because that's the question that you started with, this is the worst investment you can make. The most famous study is the Mia and Moses study. It looked at art versus treasury bills versus corporate bonds versus S&P index over from 1875 to 2000, so 125 years. There are other studies that are 300 years old also. And what they found was that the return is dominated by S&P index as well as corporate bonds and equal to treasury bills, which are risk-free. So then the only reason to have it in your portfolio as an investment would be if they have low correlation with the other asset classes or they have lower volatility. Well, art has twice the volatility of S&P index, so you cannot justify it based on that. And in terms of correlation, it's positively correlated with the stock market and negatively with the corporate bonds and treasury bills. So as an investment vehicle, it is dominated in an efficient portfolio by these other. So there's no reason to buy art because you're going to make money. It's a pretty poor investment, especially considering, and these studies don't consider transaction cost and storage costs.
Yeah, but I mean, I think your question was also around, the inflation and pricing, right? And I think that has been just within a few subcategories, right? I mean, of course, everyone knows about what's going on.
But very quickly.
In the contemporary art scene. But on the other hand, you have antiquities that have been flat or declined. So I think that's a great buy, right? Relatively speaking, if I can buy I'm not picking on anyone, but let's say a 1,000-year-old Chola bronze for the same price as your top-rated contemporary artist today in India, maybe there's a problem there, right? I mean, so I think that it's not all art classes that have kind of gone through this cycle, and of course we had a boom and a bust also. I mean, please bear in mind we've had some artists, if pricing is a factor, that have come off, 2/3, 80%, yeah, sure. So there was a speculative element to this, not just in India, globally. I think some of that hot air has been taken out. But on the other hand, you do have growing affluence in the world, more people chasing the same finite number of things. So there will be, some inflation of these collectibles. And again, you see that across, a variety of things, not just, conventional art. So I think it's a fact. I mean, there was a speculative bubble. There is the factor also of growing affluence around the world. And on the other hand, you have certain artists that haven't really moved. We were talking about Tayyab Mehta in the 60s. I mean, those canvases are still pretty much flat over the last 5-7 years. Nothing's happened there. So I think, you pick and choose, you want something with a lot of volatility and momentum or where, you believe that things are more sensibly priced.
So do you think the prices are more regulated now after 5 years of at least the boom?
Who the hell knows? But I think the other thing that also is happening, just to be sure, is galleries, right? I mean, if you look at it from a global context, galleries play a very important role in managing value and price, right? Especially beyond a certain level. If you're talking about investment grade art or what have you. And that's a deep pocket game. You're beginning to see some of that emerge. You're beginning to see Indian artists working with international galleries, and not just international galleries within, the top tier. So they have a vested interest in making sure that, these are logical, sane situations, because no one likes booms and busts. So I think, you'll start seeing some of that beginning to play out.
Prices are only a problem if there's no new artists coming up. I mean, there's plenty of new artists that graduate every year whose works are just, fine. I mean, in terms of price. So, I mean, that's where the galleries come in as well. I mean, the galleries play a really important role in finding these emerging new artists and presenting to the public.